Alright y'all, welcome into the toy shop tonight, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing. So, here's this Audi RS7, been a number of videos on this thing. I've got the bottom base, which is metal, got this nice chrome exhaust that's kind of plastic. I say kind of, it is plastic. And I've got this glued, got the tires in place, and just letting that sit there. Probably gonna let it sit there overnight so it sets up, and then I'll JB weld this onto the body probably tomorrow. But what I want to do right now is, well, I'm not going to put these mirrors on right now just yet, but what I want to do is show you guys where I had a couple little chips, and now I'm going to touch it up and fix it. So, pointed this out in my last video, but right here you can see right there and right there. So when I snap this window into place, it's all one piece, and it popped in. Looks good on the driver's side, which is nice. And so when I mount the car, right, it's going to sit like this. But on the back side, not so much, right? It kind of chipped there. I say kind of, it did. It chipped right there and right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch that up. I put a coat of clear sealer on this, the Fledge floor care finish, just one coat there, and that way there's a little bit of a barrier. But I'm going to get my spray and I'm going to touch that up. So let's do that. So I got the spectral paints here, shaking this guy up, and then I'll spray it onto a little paper plate, and then we'll go for it. Alright, successfully sprayed onto the plate. Now, I'm going to take this X-Acto knife, because I want a super fine point to touch this up. And we'll try this and make sure it's clean here. And then if that doesn't work, I'll get out a toothpick, but I think this will work. Just gotta move it. I mean, it's never going to be perfect, but I just want to cover it, fill it in. Mask it, if you will. Okay. I think I could do a little bit better on the front there. I might need to do a second coat. I'm looking at this. Yeah, I'm going to let that dry. You can still see the marks But I'm going to let that dry, put a coat of clear sealer on it once it dries, and then come back and do this all over again. Oh, and I see a little chip right there by where the mirror goes. I gotta cover that up. And that's all I'm doing, right? I mean, I'm not making it perfect. You're going to have these little imperfections from time to time on your customs. And, I mean, there's no perfect way of doing it. You're just trying to mask it as much as possible. Just trying to mask it. So, that's that. Let that dry. It dries pretty quick. But, yep. That's how you do it, guys. Or let's just say that's one way to do it. That's how I do it. And I kind of like it. Works out pretty good for me. Okay, so what else is going on? I got a bunch of cars that I would say I've got, at least these two over here that are ready for the JB Weld. And just move these guys out of the way here, and I'll show you one of the trucks I just got done. So I'm working that next, but I finished up this Parker Kligerman Lucks truck. Just got the decals on it, and got this. I think I just put a coat of paint across, white paint across this bottom here. But you can see one of the problem areas on these trucks are these rear quarter panels. Just trying to get the decals to kind of wrap around, look somewhat presentable. See that there. Now you can see it's kind of bunched up right there, right here. So I'm going to cut this off. Okay. All right, so got that in there. But this turned out pretty well. I'm fairly happy with this. Gonna let that front paint on the lower valence here dry, and then I'll be able to start putting some clear sealer on it and mount it in a case, and then I'll list it. Like I said, this one's next. Gonna decal that one. Let me show you this other truck. So I'm working this Kyle Busch Skittles, kind of a fantasy paint scheme on this truck. So I decided to paint the bed black, spoiler black, while I'm at it. Like I've said before many times, you've heard me, when you're building the trucks, it is highly recommended that you put the decal on the bed before you reassemble the truck and put these window supports into place. So one thing I've learned also, when putting these window supports in, I don't like to use the tester's glue for that. So I'll use the tester's glue for, the dash and the window piece. But these areas right here, to glue them into place, I like to use the JB Weld. And that is primarily because when you use this, if you get a little bit too much of this, if you set it like this, or even if you set it like that, it will sometimes, because it's runny, it will sometimes come up and it'll be noticeable around the bed, around these areas here. So the JB Weld, of course, doesn't run, and it'll lock that into place very nicely. I mean, sometimes I'll also use the either the shoe goo or some other glue that's not so runny like this clear part cement is. And I mean, I'd use this all the time for a lot of applications, but in this particular case, I don't like to use it. So I've got that done, and what I'll do is I'll do some JB Weld on that, and then I'll put that back together, clamp that down most likely. Got this one ready to go as well. Just need some JB Weld there. Got a couple Chase Elliott's I'm working, and I'm gonna build this Tyler Reddick the Beast Unleashed monster, and this is the hard 6% one from 2023 that he drove at Sonoma, and this will be really nice. I'm really looking forward to it. It should be relatively easy to paint and decal, but then the hard steps are going to be sealing it up with a couple coats of sealer, probably 3, and then you bring out the matte finish and you apply that matte finish over the decals to get that nice flat black look. Yeah, looking forward to that. That should be a really nice rare Tyler Reddick custom that I'll make available to y'all. And then I decided, so I've got this, it was a Kevin Harvick late model from the 2024 Wave 3, and didn't do the best paint job on it, as you can see. Like, I got a little bubble there, got a little bubble here. This is the Color Shot Marshmallow. But what I decided to do is I'm gonna make this, found this 2006 White Snowball. This is a earlier model. It's got the Hoosier tires with it, so that's perfect because this comes with the Hoosier tires. So even though it's a late model 2023 car, I'm going to use it as this 2006 one, and you know, that's pretty basic, pretty straightforward car. And yeah, it's hard to find bodies for these things, but figured I'd try that. I got nothing else right now, so I'll try that. This will be my gold McLaren custom grills. That'll be fun. I might do some confetti on it. I might not. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I could do some gold confetti on it. That'd be cool. But yeah, that'll celebrate his 2023 Talladega win. Yeah, and outside of that, I already mentioned I got this black test car for Chase Elliott. I've made one of these before, HendrickCars.com, a very rare 2022 next gen. And I am also making this Michigan 2023 blue Napa, and I've got it already painted, of course, and that'll be nice. What I like about this scheme, it's got the white in it, but it doesn't have the white like lining up with anything else outside of, well, okay, 2 areas. So, and it should be pretty easy. So this area here, right across the top, is going to line with the roof, and that should be pretty straightforward. Although I don't like it when the name cuts into the decal, and then. Yeah, I wish the names were just removed and like placed somewhere else. But whatever, you work with it. The other part that's going to be not too tricky, but it'll work, is here you've got the nose piece where you've got the white and yellow at the bottom, and then you've got to get it lined up with this side decal on both sides. So it's not too hard. The good thing, what I was saying, is that the good thing is there's no white on the hood with this hood decal. So you don't have to match up this with this and this. Yeah, that's rough, especially on these next gen. You can see how big and tall this nose is, and it's just not always the best match of the decal set to the actual die-cast body. But we shall do our best, that's for sure. Alright, let me get some JB Weld, and we'll get a couple cars JB welded and clamped together. Hold on. Alright, so let's see here. Whenever I get too much in the cap, I try to scoop it out before I squeeze more out of the tube, because this can get, over time it can get kind of messy, and I'd rather not. This gets exposed to air for too long, it gets crusty and it's not usable. So alright, you can see right around there, right around the lid, kind of squeezed out, and it's all dried up there. I try to keep my fingers away from here because this stuff is messy. Just estimate 50-50 mixture here. With this stuff, this isn't the quick setup. I don't like to work with that stuff. You can, to each their own. I like to just use this stuff that dries, and they say, like, I think it's 6 hours, is that what it says? Yeah, dries and sets in 4 to 6 hours, cures in 15 to 24 hours. Allow 4 to 6 before handling, 15 before putting object back in use. So, yeah. So you set it up, and I just let it sit overnight, and then pick it up the next day. 24 hours, it's solid. Alright, so let's get this truck over here. Like I said, on these back window supports. Get that side. And then for good measure, I like to put a little bit extra sometimes on top of these. I don't want it to go anywhere. Alright. Now for where it really belongs, on these posts. Okay. You always want to make sure you're done with your interior painting. Bring this guy in here. See if it'll snap. There we go. It snaps into place. Love that sound. And then you just fill her in. Come on. Like I said, I always like to go over the lip. Okay. And that's that. And we'll just let that sit over here. Let's do this guy. since that snapped into place and you saw it, you know, it wasn't moving at all. I don't need to clamp that guy. So now on these this is a COT car, right? So on these earlier ones, I definitely like to put some JB weld on that plastic interior windows. Yeah, don't want those popping out. And you put this on there, it ain't going anywhere. Ain't going anywhere. How's that for proper English? Okay. Now these are a little tricky because the way that this is set up, you have to set your front wheels in place because the plastic interior pieces don't cover it. Let me bring this down over here. Okay, so you didn't hear any snapping, right? That's because it's, yeah. Gonna have to fill that in. So let me get a clamp. Hold on. All right, so this is my little next gen wedge that I use. This is for the top, so I don't damage the roof too much. Clamp this guy. Whoops, that's not good. Get that. Here we go. Try to get that on the roof there. There we go. Okay, now that she's clamped, I'll fill her in. I try to push it to the side and then just I'm dabbing up and down, right, to try to get any air bubbles out. There's no pockets of air in there. Just like when you're working with concrete, right? You want to just up and down, up and down. Try to get any of those air pockets out and coming to the surface. And I'll lick my finger and I'll dab it if there's like a little raised area. Try to flatten it out. I lick my finger so it doesn't, the JB weld doesn't stick to it. Alright, and then what I do, you can see here, so I'll take these little tester bottles, old ones, and we'll set it like that. And that way it dries kind of level. And yeah. Alright, so got some time left. So let me see if I can put the driver's side mirror in on this RS7. See which one is which. Yeah, this is the driver's side. So it's going to drop in here. Like so. Alright, so what I need to do is get some JB weld in there. And I need to just use a little bit, as it's a tight fit, and I don't want it coming out and squirting all over the place, but I also want to have enough so it Alright, so I got too much. What do you know? Surprise, surprise. Okay. Just trying to scrape off the excess here on this A pillar. And I can go back and touch it up with some of the paint afterwards if I need to. But just get the excess off. But no, guys, this is why it's so hard working on these little cars. Alright, so I'm gonna okay. I think I got it in. It's in. I think. Just trying to keep shoving it in. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to need to do. I'm going to have to come back, and I'm just going to get some of that. Once this all dries, right? You can still see the JB weld. And what I'm going to do is get some of that spray paint and touch it up around there. And yeah, kind of mask that JB weld. But as I let this dry, I'm just going to have to let it sit like that. And that way it'll dry overnight. And then I'll do the other one the next night. So, all right, guys, that's a wrap. Saw what's going on in the toy shop. A lot of different things being worked. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and tune in again for some more custom 164 NASCARs and maybe even something else that I'll do that's kind of out of the ordinary. So, all right. God bless. Talk to you later. Take care.